Hey everyone! I'll never forget the day I walked into Summit Solutions with my mop and bucket, just like any other morning in my navy blue uniform. My name's Elena Rivera, 48 years old, and for 15 years I had been the cleaning lady. Nobody noticed me as the executives in their fancy suits rushed past, their shiny shoes clicking on the marble floors of that towering San Francisco high-rise. To them, I was invisible until I no longer was. It all started with a spilled coffee and a cruel laugh from the CEO, Graham Cole, that echoed through the halls. That's when I decided they had mocked me for the last time. Hey, where are you watching this from? Drop your city in the comments, I'd love to know. Every night, I pushed my cart through those empty offices, the city skyline glowing outside the giant windows. Graham's corner office was the worst, papers scattered everywhere, coffee cups piled like he owned the place. Well, he acted like he did. I'd hear him barking orders during the day, firing employees without a second thought, laughing with his buddies about cutting the dead weight. Once, I caught him shredding papers, financial stuff he didn't want anyone to see. I didn't say a word, just kept scrubbing. But I was watching, always watching. What would you do if you saw something shady like that? One Tuesday, it got personal. I was mopping the lobby when Graham strutted in with his crew, all smirks and loud voices. Someone had spilled coffee near the elevator, probably one of them, and he pointed at me, barking, "Clean it up, Grandma." The whole staff turned to look. They laughed, and I stood there, mop in hand, my face burning. I wanted to yell back, but I swallowed my pride and kept my head down. That night, alone with my cart, I made a promise, he'd pay for that. Have you ever had to bite your tongue like that? I wasn't always just a cleaning lady. 15 years ago, my uncle, Raul, a big investor, passed away and left me something nobody knew about, shares in Summit Solutions. A lot of them. I could have cashed out, but instead, I stayed mopping floors, watching Graham turn the company into his personal playground. I saw good people, janitors and assistants, get laid off while he bought another yacht. Those shares were my secret, my ace. After that coffee spill humiliation, I called my old friend Sarah, a lawyer. "Sarah, it's time," I said. "What's the longest you've ever waited to settle a score?" Sarah met me at a diner across town, out of the prying eyes of Summit. Over greasy fries, I spilled everything, Graham's layoffs, the shredded papers, the way he treated us like dirt. Sarah leaned in, eyes sharp. "Elena, you're the majority shareholder. You've got the power to end this." I had been sneaking photos of those documents with my phone, stuffing them in my cart, evidence, real stuff, numbers that didn't add up, emails about illegal cuts. Sarah grinned. "We hit him at the shareholders' meeting. Hard." My heart raced. Ever caught someone doing something they thought they'd get away with? The shareholders' meeting was a week away, and I kept my head down, mopping floors like nothing was up. Graham strutted around bragging about record profits while I dusted his office, my phone buzzing with Sarah's texts, "Evidence is airtight." One night, I overheard him on a call, laughing about squeezing the little people. I smiled to myself, he had no idea what was coming. "What's the sneakiest thing you've ever pulled off?" The night before the meeting, I couldn't sleep. I sat in my tiny apartment, staring at a stack of papers Sarah had organized. Every lie Graham told, every dollar he stole from us laid out in black and white. My uniform hung on the chair, still smelling like bleach. I thought about my uncle, how he trusted me with those shares. This wasn't just for me, it was for every janitor, every assistant he had crushed. I whispered to myself, "Tomorrow, Graham's done." What keeps you up at night before a big move? The morning of the shareholders' meeting, I walked into Summit like always, bucket rattling, head down. The boardroom buzzed with suits everywhere. Graham sat at the head of the table, smirking like a king. I waited in the hall, gripping my cart until Sarah texted, "Now." I pushed through the doors, still in my uniform, and every head turned. Graham snorted. "What's she doing here?" he barked, waving me off. I took a deep breath, stepped forward, and said, "I'm not just the cleaning lady, Graham. I own this company." The room went dead silent. Ever seen someone's face drop like that? Graham laughed, a loud, fake laugh, and said, "Nice joke, sweetheart. Get back to your mop." The board chuckled nervously. I didn't flinch. I pulled out my folder, slapped it on the table, and started reading: falsified reports, illegal layoffs, his own emails calling us disposable. His face went pale. "I've got the shares," I said, voice steady. "And I've got the votes." Sarah stepped in, papers in hand, confirming it. Graham's jaw tightened. "You can't." "Oh, I can." I cut him off. "You're fired, Graham. Right now." What's it like to watch a bully squirm? The boardroom exploded into whispers as Graham stood there, red-faced, fists clenched. "This isn't over," he hissed, storming toward the door. I stayed calm, watching him go. Then I turned to the board and said, "Things changed today. No more layoffs for profit. No more treating people like trash." They nodded, stunned. I wasn't done. I pulled out my phone and showed a photo of the cleaning crew. "These folks deserve raises starting now." A few clapped, tentative, then loud. For the first time in 15 years, I felt seen. Ever had a moment where you finally got to say something back? Graham didn't go quietly. As I left the building that day, I saw him in the parking lot, yelling into his phone, pacing like a trapped animal. I kept walking, my bucket rattling one last time. By evening, my phone lit up, news alerts: Summit CEO ousted in shareholder coup. Then it got even better: regulators saw my leaks, froze his accounts, seized his yacht, his name dragged online, tweets called him a fraud, a bully. Karma didn't wait long. I smiled, sitting on my couch. Ever seen someone's world crash that fast? The next day at Summit, the air felt different. I walked in, no uniform this time, just jeans and a sweater, and people stared, not with pity, but with something new: respect. The cleaning crew mobbed me in the break room, grinning. "Elena, you really did it," one said, handing me coffee. I laughed, first time in years I felt this good. Later, I sat in Graham's old office, signing papers for raises and ethical rules. The view was the same, but it was mine now. I wasn't invisible anymore. What does it feel like to finally be seen after being ignored? Word spread fast. By noon, my inbox flooded with emails from reporters wanting interviews and old coworkers thanking me. One email stood out: a janitor I'd worked with years ago, fired by Graham for asking for a sick day. "You gave us our dignity back," he wrote. I teared up reading it. Later, I walked the halls and saw people smiling, really smiling at me. A kid from accounting stopped and said, "You're a legend, Elena." I shrugged. Just doing what's right. But inside, I felt 10 feet tall. Ever had someone thank you out of the blue like that? That night, I stopped by the diner where Sarah and I had planned it all. She was already there, grinning. "You're trending, Elena," she said, showing me her phone. "Cleaning lady to CEO everywhere." I laughed, shaking my head. I just wanted Graham gone. Sarah leaned back. "You did more than that. You shook the whole company awake." We toasted with soda cans like kids. The lights of San Francisco blinked the same as always, but I felt different. Stronger. I'd spent 15 years waiting, and now, I'd won. What's the sweetest victory you've ever tasted? A week later, I got a call from a local news station. They wanted me on air, live. I said yes, nerves jangled. Sitting under those bright lights, I told my story, the mop, the shares, Graham's fall. The host leaned in. Why did you wait so long? I paused, then said, I needed proof in the right moment. Calls flooded in, people cheering, some crying, saying I'd inspired them to speak up at their jobs. I left the studio shaky but proud. Ever had a moment where you inspired someone without even trying? Back at Summit, I started small changes that felt big. I put a suggestion box in the break room. The first note said, more coffee. I laughed, ordered an extra machine. Then I met with the cleaning crew, asked what they needed, better hours, gloves that didn't rip. Done. One guy, Miguel, pulled me aside. My kid saw you on TV, he said. She wants to be you someday. I blinked back tears. Tell her to be better than me. It hit me, this wasn't just about Graham anymore. What one small change would you make if you ran things? Graham didn't vanish quietly. A month later, I saw him on some cable show, ranting about me being a sneaky cleaner who stole his company. I rolled my eyes. But then the host played a clip, security footage of him trashing his office after I fired him, screaming like a toddler. I laughed so hard, I spilled my tea. Online, people tore him apart, memes everywhere. His meltdown trended, and his old cronies distanced themselves. His empire became a punchline. Karma wasn't done kicking him. Ever seen someone dig their own grave deeper like that? Things settled at Summit, but I couldn't shake the feeling of eyes on me. Walking home one night, I noticed a guy lingering too close, too quiet. Then my phone rang. Elena, Graham's been asking about you. Stay sharp. My stomach dropped. I'd won, but he wasn't letting go. The next day, I hired security for the crew, just in case. Scared, though. I'd faced him once, and I'd do it again. That mop wasn't my weapon anymore, my voice was. Ever had someone try to drag you back down after you rose up? Graham's last swing came quickly. One morning, a lawyer showed up at Summit with a lawsuit claiming I manipulated the shares. I met him in the lobby, calm as ever. Check the records, I said, handing over my uncle's notarized will. Sarah was there, smirking. The guy skimmed it, stammered, then left. Hours later, news hit, Graham's case got tossed. The judge called it frivolous. His legal fees piled up, his last allies bailed. He was done, real this time. I exhaled, finally free. Ever had someone's plan blow up in their face like that? A year later, Summit was a different place. I'm still here, not in a uniform, but running things my way. The crew got raises, the layoffs stopped, and people actually smile in the halls. I framed that first suggestion note, more coffee, on my desk, a reminder of who I'm here for. As for Graham? Last I heard, he's selling condos in some nowhere town, broke and forgotten. I'm no hero, just a cleaning lady who got fed up. If I can do this, so can you. Hit that like button, subscribe, and check out the playlist on screen for more stories like mine. Where do you think karma's headed next?